Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the Boom Bar right here on your Boom Radio NG. I bid you a warm welcome to the bar today. This very interesting Wednesday afternoon. We're going to be talking about quite a number of things at the bar. If you're just joining us for the very first time, this is the bar where we talk about everything politics, entertainment, sports, and everything else in between. And that could really be anything else in between. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show today. We're going to be talking about people being declared wanted and some other people telling themselves, suing the people that are declaring them wanted. We're going to be talking a lot of that today. The DSS is in the news. Seems to be like a lot of people are mixing a lot of things up. Maybe we might add a bit of clarification on those matters. ECOWAS has denied genocide that is happening in Nigeria as well. Seems like more people seems to be talking about the conversation with the US and Nigeria, and New York now has a new mayor. That seems to also have caused some level of controversy and a whole lot of other things around the country. So sit down, relax, and enjoy the show. My name is Ola Dolupo, and with me in the studio is Sola Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the bar.
Okay, so we're going straight into the gist for today. Like I said earlier, first things first, from the table of the presidency, President Tinubu was appointed John Uwabweze as a tax ombudsman. That's what it is. And the conversation really was that this is in line with the tax laws that are supposed to be put in place by, I think, January 1 of 2026. So basically, this is in line with the provisions of the Joint Revenue Board of Nigeria Establishment Act of 2025. This was announced. Basically, he's supposed to be the head of that new agency. Basically, so just wanted to put that out there. Also, from the presidency, the vice president is also out of the country, is attending a UN climate summit. These days, the vice president seems to be attending a lot more events that you would normally expect the president to go. But I think it's safe to say that it just makes sense that there's a lot happening at home that the president cannot leave at the moment.
Yeah, you can look at it like that. You can also look at it like it's probably the plan from the get. You never can tell. A lot of people would be given more to the fact that, based on recent events, the reported now very solid news about an attempted coup. It's no longer a mirage, you get. Plus the the current threats to Nigeria by America's president. You know, the threat of putting boots on the ground and coming in, guns are blazing. You don't want to be seen, sleeping or dropping the ball at a time like this. But life must go on. Governance must go on. So that's the advantage of having a system of government that allows a vice president.
Okay, so now still talking about the federal government. The federal government, from the stable of the Minister of Communications and Telecom, is now saying that the federal government is planning to invest about 12 billion naira in digital research projects.
Sounds good. Sounds good if you're investing in Nigeria. All of these things always sound good. Maybe I'm just not patient enough, like some Nigerians who want to see impact almost immediately. You want to get the full impact of the government investing 12 billion naira in a particular sector of the economy and how it's going to rub off on the ordinary man, which is people like me. So at the end of the day, you really want to hear these things, but you'd rather want to see, results. I appreciate the fact that they are telling us about it, but if there's any way the federal government, the state governments, the local governments, and the legislature can actually expedite action on virtually every promise they made, and even the ones that they've not made but they are moving on when it comes to governance, this will be a good time.
Okay, so before we leave the issue of the federal government, it's now been official. The federal government, and speaking about things that they're doing already, is that they handed over 100 two-bedroom homes to widows in Kaduna State.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
All right, I was hoping you had more information about that, but it's fine. That's a good thing. We're talking about Nigeria that has a housing deficit that's really, really massive. Nigeria, the real estate industry shouldn't be driven by government, but this is where we are. I find it commendable, though, at least for the widows and people who will be beneficiaries of this. But you start to ask questions now. Is this going to be like a national thing? You know, because if you're going to be giving out housing or houses to widows in Kaduna, what about the widows in Akure and the widows in Owerri, you know, and the widows in Port Harcourt, the world famous Port Harcourt now, and Potiskum, Damaturu, and all the other parts of Nigeria, Zungeru, you get. So I hope that there's more information coming from the government about this, but you know, we're still not in an ideal situation, because it would be rather better if people were empowered to buy these houses, maybe with a mortgage. And how do they buy these houses? They get a loan. And how do they pay the loan? They get a job or they get a business going. But hey, congratulations to people who have benefited from this.
From me, yeah. About at least 100 people are off the streets, or will I say that there's 100 less people that are homeless at this point. Anyway, moving on from that quickly, and let's go on to the Nigerian Immigration Service, where they have now announced that they're planning to introduce an emergency passport. What's that? Emergency passport for Nigerians abroad. So basically what they're saying is that Nigerians abroad that need to come to Nigeria, it's sort of like a one-off thing, but you need a passport to come to Nigeria. So it's sort of like an emergency one-off temporary passport.
I thought the last government, before they left, talked about how if your passport was expired, you can come home regardless. So maybe this will speak to people who don't have passports at all.
People that don't have
so
passports.
you can maybe put a rush on getting an emergency one. Then when you get here, you can now go to the NIS and get a proper passport.
It's a single travel emergency passport.
Maybe that's that. Then again, for people who maybe their passports gets missing and all of that, it's rigorous.
So now they're saying is that it's whether your passport is expired, lost, or stolen. However, they say that they need to do this for to verify and to, you know, follow up on. So you're just not, even though your passport is expired, you're just not submitting your passport and you're coming to Nigeria. No. What they're saying that this also goes into your, so it's basically also helping with data.
Yeah. So of course, there's always the case of passports getting damaged, stolen, or missing, and getting a quick emergency one might just solve that problem. Nigerians have had to go through hell when your passport, because you see, there's a clear distinction for the government in an expired passport and a stolen, missing, or damaged passport. I've seen people who have to fly back to Nigeria, one way or the other, then fly to Abuja. I hope that has stopped. Anything that has to do with missing or stolen passport, you can't do anything except you go to Abuja.
Yeah.
I know, and at least I know like 3 people who have had to go through that.
But so what you're saying is that if my passport isn't expired and it gets, can't I just request for another one? No.
The people that I know that this happened to, they have to travel to Abuja to get it.
No, I get your point. I'm just saying, like, so it means that without my passport expiring, I cannot renew it. Interesting.
It's actually harder. I just wonder why, you know, maybe it's some kind of security, maybe some kind of incompetence. I don't know what it is, but I know that it's actually harder for you to say, oh, your passport is missing, then you get the affidavit, then you have to fly to Abuja.
But if we also look at it from an angle of, like you said, security purposes, there really should be a reason why your passport is missing, or at least you shouldn't just be able to just waltz in and
get into Abuja, solve that problem.
I'm not saying going to Abuja, but I'm saying that maybe swearing an affidavit and a whole lot of other things might actually not be a bad idea, especially if it's missing or stolen. So
people swear the affidavit, but they still have to travel physically to Abuja, and that's what I have a problem with. That why do I have to go to Abuja now that they have this new central passport system and everything? Hopefully that is off the table, because I know someone who had to travel with their child, and they had to go by air, they had to stay in an hotel, and they were there for a couple of days just because they want to get a passport that was, I think it was stolen or something. I know about 2-3 people that have had to go through this. When you get to the passport office, they'll say, Abuja. So with this new one that you're able to issue an emergency passport, you should also be able to issue a renewal of that person's passport in any part of Nigeria, now that they have a new upgraded system. Because what would be the advantage of the new system if you have to keep doing things the old way?
Anyway, now let's move on quickly from that. Let's go to court. The courts are very interesting at this point. It's officially November 5th, and this is the day that the court has given Mr. Nnamdi Kanu to enter his defense or to forfeit it. Today, the truth is that if you're on social media and all that, in the past couple of days, there's been a lot of conversation about IPOB and Biafra and all that. Maybe that's one of the things that the man was waiting for, but it does not look like the court is waiting for him, or whatever drama wants to happen. The court has now said today, as he resumed hearing, and said that they had given him a last chance to enter his defense or forfeit it, and today is the last day for that. So there's not at least as of this time, there's not been an update from what is happening in court, as that case now been closed off, and is the judge going into judgment immediately and arraignment and all that we do not know yet. But as of last time, the court basically told Mr. Nnamdi Kanu to enter his defense today or forfeit the chance to do that.
It's like playing chess. It's like playing games. The two opponents might not, play the way you expect them to, but they both want to win, and there can be only one winner at the end of the day. Nnamdi Kanu's strategy is very clear, and it's been clear from the moment, it was brought back to Nigeria, and the case made it to court. You would have, if you just go back now, you see that he's been consistent with the way he went about his defense or lack of defense, and the delay tactics and everything. And when you look at other events in and around the court, the protests by a lawyer that was part of a case that is still pending in court, the linking of Trump's CPC to him, people are saying, oh, this is the person is a Christian, although he has always said he's more of a Jew than a Christian, and the Jewish people do not believe in Christianity. I'm sure a lot of Christians don't know. One of the funny things is when I see Nigerian Christians speaking, they're defending these people. They're not Christians, but you people don't know.
They don't like you that much.
They're not like your friends, but hey, it's all right.
The Israel of the Bible is not the Israel
It's not
of
the
now.
same, but leave our people. So, of course, all of that is intertwined. And this morning, his best friend and proxy leader of his movement, Sowore, tweeted something this morning talking about how he has information that the government had concluded what they wanted to do a long time ago. And the first comment I saw on his time on that comment section was that, why do you always do these things? But you see, people don't understand how Sowore works. It thrives in controversy.
Okay, so can I say something though?
I was trying to make a point.
Sorry, go ahead.
It thrives in controversy and is preempting what everybody knows. Everybody with a brain knows that if you do not enter a defense, the judgment will be passed as it is based on the prosecution's case and whatever you had said.
Mm-hmm.
So he's now like making it sound like he has some kind of information and that government had planned this a while ago and blah blah blah, you know. And I look at how the extent people will go to for political gains and for other gains that they get, that we hear they get.
Okay, so in his claim that he knows what the government is going to do, any right-thinking person and anybody especially that was a lot on social media around 2020 and saw a lot of videos going around, trust me, it was not AI. It's not AI. It's not content creation. Don't let me say we also, a lot of people saw about the proclamations of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu and the kind of things he said and the kind of havoc on people's lives economically, socially, you know, in literally every aspect of the Southeast, the kind of damage, the things he had said and the things he had orchestrated has done. Is it really, really out of place that you think that the government is going to let him go that easily? But because like you said, you would think that there's something so great. Anybody with a right thinking mind, with their head screwed on tight, will realize that this guy, except for some beautiful defense that you want to, which I can't think of, I'm not a lawyer, it's obvious the man is not going anywhere. So what are you doing? And if they were going to release him, I believe that he would have been released from before now. We've seen governors, we've seen senators, House of Rep members, even as high as the deputy speaker of the House of Representatives. We've seen Southeast governors, a lot of people. In fact, there are protests, and the government or the federal government has still not found it worthy enough to release him. Do you really think that anything else is going to come out of it? Now, like you now said, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu now decides. First, it was the shenanigans of all sorts of things. If you remember very well, it was what he wants to wear or what he was not. Remember, he wanted to wear some certain regalia to court every time, and the court had said no, you can't wear that. That went on for weeks on end. There was the conversation of he wants to be moved to a prison and doesn't want to stay in DSS custody. That went on and on. We did that. Obviously, he was still in DSS custody. Then there was the story of he's not well, and then there were doctors that checked him out and said he was well. He claimed that he couldn't stand up. They were not treating him well. All of a sudden, when he saw that wasn't working again, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu is up and down in court, and I'm like, okay, is this the same person that they claim that, or he claims that is not well? So there has been then the story of he doesn't want this judge. The judge should recuse himself. You know, all that drama. And you really think for some weird reason the federal government will look at all this and feel, this person is worthy enough for pardon. Let's not be deceiving ourselves. I think that, like you said, Mr. Sowore likes the controversy, and maybe he likes to hear his own voice a lot. That's what I think. And speaking of him too, he too is now in court. The Lagos Commissioner of Police declared him wanted. They're saying that according to reports, they've heard that he's in Ondo State now, that he's trying to gather thugs, and that the minute he steps foot into Lagos and they find out that he's going to be arrested for disturbing public peace. We know that a few days ago, he actually came to Lagos with a few people to stage a protest about what was happening in Owo. Now, in the same vein, Mr. Sowore has now sued the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, and the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State for declaring him wanted.
Yeah, my own take on this is that does the Commissioner of Police in Lagos have proof that Sowore had committed a crime enough for you to declare him wanted?
They said that he was disturbing the peace of the state.
Do they have proof?
He was there. He was on the
evidence that he was there physically.
Yeah,
because I watched a report where the commissioner was saying that he should come. Because I don't think if the commissioner has seen him physically, he will be saying, why is Sowore afraid? He was saying things like, oh, he heard that Sowore was in a vehicle or something. Why didn't he come down? Why didn't he show up? And blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying to look at how we avoid frivolous law cases. You get? Until there's real proof that he has broken one law or the other. Nigerian law. Enough for you to declare him wanted. Enough to declare him wanted. Because there's criminal offense, there's a civil offense, and there's a process. So, shouldn't he maybe be sued as against being declared wanted? And if you are declaring him wanted, you must have something to hold him with. Because at the end of the day, you just make him make a mockery of you guys again. You know, because if you hold Sowore over a flimsy excuse and he gets to court and the judge looks at it and says, no, even this one that you have brought here is a bailable offense, so I'm granting him bail, let him go. That rubbishes anything you think you're trying to do. So my charge to the police or anybody is that do everything by the book and ensure that, you know, people's rights are not being trampled upon. Sowore on his own part, you know, is in activist mode now. Next year he will move to politics mode.
Yeah, he's saying that basically the police are trampling on his human rights, for not his fundamental human rights, for not allowing him protest.
That's what I'm saying. That's exact. I've already said this already.
But the question is, now another thing is, I know that yes, it's everybody's right to protest, but isn't there also the conversation where you are disturbing public peace?
Disturbing the peace or attempting to disturb the peace or allegedly disturb the peace. Dolupo, I heard when the Commissioner of Police was saying that they had that he wanted to shut down the third. You see, the first time this happened, the Oroshoki people, to get attention of the media and the world and Nigeria at large, they actually shut down the longest bridge in Nigeria. And that caused a lot of chaos. And of course, that's what brought this Oroshoki matter to limelight. Mm-hmm. So what they are saying, what I heard, I saw the man talk on TV, is that they heard he wanted to do it. I'm saying he has not done it. Do you understand what I'm saying here? He has not done it. So if you say he's disturbing public peace and you didn't see him there physically, and some people are there saying, oh, it's Sowore that sent them, and he gets to court and denies those people, like, I don't know them. You know, it's a public thing. They might have heard my voice or read a story somewhere, and they came there. I don't know them. Finito. You don't have a case. So if you're going to have a case, it has to be airtight.
Anyway, we'll see where all that conversation will be going to at the moment. But still talking about the courts, a very interesting story that I think broke about over a week ago was where a popular socialite was said to, his club was said to have been raided for having a drug party, and I think the NDLEA I talked about, was it the NDLEA or DSS? One of them had arrested over 100 people there, including he himself, and there were so many drugs that were said to have been
found there.
Sorry, the NDLEA confiscated right there. Now, the court, apparently this matter is going as swiftly. I did not think that this matter was going to. It's not a usual Nigerian thing for something to go this swiftly. But anyway, Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has now ordered the interim forfeiture of the property belonging to Pretty Mike, and saying that basically on the allegations that the place is being used for drug storage and distribution.
Ah, man. First things first, Pretty Mike, maybe you should have stuck to chaining women in the neck and taking them to parties. I don't know if that's breaking a law, but...
Because at this point,
the way
it's like they mean you.
Whenever in recent times, I've not heard of an interim forfeiture that was not solidified by the courts. You know, so it's almost like when they say,
if there's an interim forfeiture,
someone has 2 yellow cards in the football match.
Be rest assured there's going to be a final one.
Except the referee is sleeping. 2 yellow cards is straight red. You are going to get a red. So interim forfeiture and all under 1 week. You know, and this is what I have been advocating for. I know Dolupo also says it. We say it here that we need to expedite a lot of judicial processes, especially when you have all the facts.
All the evidence. Let's move on quickly.
So again, the story is big because it's a nightclub that it is now being treated as a drug center, not even a nightclub. They're not saying, because running a nightclub is not a crime. What they're saying now is that the amount of drugs that are being passed through that place, you know, is enough for the government to be concerned. And I feel for him if, you know, it's just running a nightclub. But if he's been doing drugs at this volume that the NDLA is saying, I really don't feel for him.
But remember, if you okay.
Yeah, say what you want to say.
If you remember the pictures and that NDLA released, that was a lot.
Yeah, so again, all of that has to be confirmed. You know that when it comes to illicit drugs, when it comes to substance abuse, there is the volume that is just for consumption.
Yeah, and then there is volume for distribution.
Yeah, so it gets a point where they look at something as, okay, this one don't pass, you know, counter. This one are straight to kiri and stuff. So I don't know, but I think the law, and I know the law must take its full course. The funny thing is that maybe, just maybe, if they look around, there are probably more spots like this in different parts of Nigeria where, you know, on the outside it's a certain thing, but on the inside it's something different.
Yeah, because I think right now the major issue with him is the volume that was found on that premises.
They actually had like a sting operation. He didn't know that they had undercover people that had already come, and they had credible. If that's why they swooped in. And this is how you guys should operate when you have solid.
Yeah.
There's not all those raids there. You just go and be busting people's hotels and rooms, and at the end of the day, nothing.
You know, a normal day, when you hear maybe things like nightclubs and celebrities and all that, a lot of people will come out and say, "Oh, DSS is not fair." No, but everybody has been quiet.
That's so.
Everybody has been quiet. Anyway, still talking about the DSS. We're talking about the NDLA before. Now we're moving on to the DSS. Interesting news as the DSS has now released a list of 115 personnel that have been dismissed over time. So apparently, I saw it a lot on social media last night where a lot of people are saying, oh, it's because of the threat from the US that is making a lot of people step up now. However, if you read the statement from the DSS, it's a number of people that have been dismissed over time, and apparently they do it from time to time. So when they dismiss people for overtime, they release the pictures out in the public to avoid impersonation and imposters, people that have been old members of the DSS. But really and truly, how do you be working for DSS and they let you go?
No. Again, this started about a month ago. Within the space of about 3 days, the DSS put out 2 different press statements about 2 former members of their staff, you know, people who were in their employ but whom they revealed had gone rogue, and those guys were declared wanted. I don't think they've been arrested yet. So about 2 or 3 weeks after this list now dropped, that was yesterday, talking about over 100 people. I went through the pictures. You know, there are a lot of Nigerians on it.
Are they not Nigerians? Are
Exactly.
they all not Nigerians?
That's a joke. So the thing about it is that you look at it, and because people have started putting some ethnic coloration to it. That's why I said Nigerians. If you get on social media, you'll see some comments about how they are predominantly here or there or whatever. But I don't want to give voice to that. That's why I made the joke about Nigerians being on it, because that's who they are. Now, the thing about it is it's always for me, I look at things from different perspectives. The first thing is, why are there so many people, being kicked out of the secret police? Like, if you know how the DSS operates, they are top notch.
Yeah, that's. I was actually kind of wondering, like, really?
They're well trained, and they are way, way, way above the regular police. I'm sorry, Nigerian police, but it's the truth.
But it is the truth.
It's the truth. So I am worried that they have this many bad apples. If you have over 100 and something people dismissed this year from the DSS, how many people will not get in the first place?
But can I?
And okay, yeah.
But can I say to that? Could it also be that it's a good thing that they're actually weeding out a lot of people, and maybe it will keep people on their toes? You now put a juxtapose it to police that you said.
That's why.
Imagine if the police does this.
That's why I said that I look at things from different perspectives. I've established the very bad and dangerous aspect. The scary one for me is, why are there 100 and something disgraced and displaced and dismissed DSS officers? On the flip side, which I was going to get to, that's why I said I look at things from different perspectives. On the flip side, I see a service that is willing to go to any extent to clean house. Now, there is a case that broke. Ola Dips is a rapper, fantastic rapper, and there's the case of an alleged bribery by, some of these secret police people too. Yep. And of course, the guy is standing his ground. I think there's a talk of a 10 million naira extortion or something somewhere in the mix there. And of course, you see, immediately the agencies, the NDLEAs and the DSS, when they put out statements, they're speaking from both sides of their mouth. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. One part of you is saying, we don't condone this. The other part is saying, we will look into it, you get, and that the people will be suspended. You see, the first thing is keep quiet, do your investigation. If you want to put a statement out, put a statement that we have taken this information and we will revert. But don't put a spin or try to spin already without investigation. That means you might actually preempt the results of your investigation if you are already trying to be on the defensive, you get. So I like that they are cleaning house. And the thing again is, it's been said on more than one occasion. If you go back to the story of NSAS, some of the very popular SARS guys are people that a lot of people refer to as criminals. People who they claim, were bad boys before they even joined the force. So who's to say that some of these 100 and something people too did not join the force for the invincibility that it will give them and the power it will give them to even carry out those heinous crimes that they are now known for? And now they've all gone rogue, maybe because there's a new drive to purge them by the new leaders of the organizations. I like what Buba Marwa did when he came on board, and he's still there. And look at, I think it's Kayode, right? That's DSS.
Yeah, I think.
You can see some changes,
Yeah, so maybe I see it as something like the police can take a cue from.
Not just the police, everybody.
They need to do some serious in-house cleaning, even no matter how bad it makes you look, but it also solidifies and gives, I think that it also gives the citizenry some more faith in you, that you're sure that the people that are still there are doing the work that they're supposed to do. Yeah, basically. So anyway, the DSS has also, still talking about the DSS, has now confirmed the prosecution of the Owo Church attack suspects. That I know that there's been a lot of back and forth in the past couple of days saying that what happened with the Owo attack, if a lot of these things were not it just been swept under the carpet. But now the DSS saying that the 5 men are being tried at the moment over the June 2022 attack on the Catholic Church in Owo.
Expedite action on judgment. Justice delayed is justice denied. People brought up this Owo attack because it was an attack on a church.
Mm-hmm.
And about 40 people died and over 100 were injured. If you had actually done this, it would have been part of your talking point. Not now that they are now trying to push it out that, oh, they're in court and blah, blah, blah. When they were arrested, investigations will be conducted. Investigations are concluded. They should have this fantastic relationship with the judiciary. So, look, can we move fast on this?
Yeah.
Imagine if when people were saying it, they were like, oh, but the overall when people are saying, oh, there's a Christian genocide, they're like, no. And what about, oh, they're in jail. What happened? They've been hung. Or they've been shot. Or whatever punishment they will get for killing 40 people.
Exactly.
Because I don't think someone will kill 40 people now and you say you are giving them life. I don't think so. And Nigeria has, we still have
I think that's
capital punishment.
In Nigeria.
So I'm not advising them. I'm just saying that someone shall not kill 40 people.
And you still be eating government bills.
And you put him there and say you are giving him life. So that one president will come one day and say they are pardoning the person. You can't kill 40 people, be arrested for it, and still sit in jail.
Anyway, talking about the Nigerian Senate today has now passed a bill to prevent sexual harassment in educational institutions. It has passed the third reading, and they're saying now that it's a concurrent bill from the House of Representatives. So it looks like that bill is going to be passed on.
Someone should sponsor another one to prevent it in the Senate and the House of Reps too. Let it not be only. It's a fantastic bill, and that's in education, right? Let it be a general bill. So
a few people in the Senate, some senators had talked about how they feel that the bill should not just be around educational institutions, but it should be workplace, and it's basically that it should be spread across board and other settings and all that. Now, according to the Senate, they're saying that because I think it's a bill that originated from the House of Representatives. This bill has to be passed first.
Yeah.
Then
it can
now be amended. But that for now, this is what is
available. But they need a bill also because again, you never can tell. You never can tell.
Bill that what? Okay.
That bill should be a broad bill on sexual harassment. You should cover the Senate also and the House of Reps. I'm just saying. Abi?
Anyway,
Abi?
oh Lord, so I really, really hope that this bill is passed and there's a president assent on this, and maybe, hopefully, quickly is also amended so that.
I want to quickly chip in something based on some of the things that we discussed yesterday. I've said it over and over again. At times, people don't hear what you say once, so you have to repeat it. I do not support Akpabio, but I also do not support any allegations that are not proven. I do not like the fact that Senator Natasha Akpoti has alleged things that she has not tried to prove. It is wrong. If the man has committed a crime, please let's nail him. But if we don't have proof, it's sad. But you can't just keep alleging and alleging without any proof. That's the truth. So no sentiment in this, and this is in response to some of the feedback and fallout from yesterday's program. So
really?
So I reiterate that I do not support Akpabio. I do not go against him also. I just feel that you must have enough to nail him if he has committed that offense.
Anyway, talking about the United States threat to Nigeria, ECOWAS has also now said that and dismissed the fact that there's any religious genocide in its region.
It's something that we've made into a song now. We're all singing this song, hoping that the powers that be, the people who have threatened to come in guns a-blazing would listen to the voice of reason and listen to what everybody is saying. I saw a video yesterday. I had to go through the guy's timeline. It's one of Sowore's disciples, and he was having a one-man protest in Abuja, carrying a placard and inviting the American president to take over and blah blah blah. I saw that video, so I went through the guy's timeline. When I saw several, it was at the Nnamdi Kanu protest. I said, okay, so you get them, you see the pattern. You get it. Was at one or two. There was one protest that was wearing one of Sowore's orange caps, and he said, "Oh, he's representing." He said it with his own words, though. And I said, "Okay, fine." And of course, so-called influencers are pushing those stories out, so you will see it on your timeline. Then again, they started pushing another video today. A guy claims that he has written a letter to the American president, and that he was trying to drop the letter. And in the letter, he's inviting that he is one of the people from the area that are most affected by this attacks, and that he's a Christian, and he wants to confirm that yes, there is indeed, this thing that they are claiming. And he claims that the Nigerian security men at the U.S. embassy prevented him from dropping the letter because they are trying to stop him, and that he's willing to even join the U.S. Army to join them in fighting. Now, the truth is that you hardly can you go to any embassy. And I look at a grown man, he's probably 20-something or 30-something-year-old. Hardly can you think you can just wake up, even if it's not about this whole talk. You can just wake up one day.
It's a security issue. They're not going to allow you
and
to
go
take
to
things
any
in
embassy and say, I want
check it.
There are ways to go about it. There are protocols. You can go online. I'm not going to say you shouldn't drop your letter, but so there are ways to go for security reasons. What if you were carrying some weapons, some so they are also very careful. But I saw people really retweeting it and sharing it.
I really just assume.
Everybody's entitled to what they believe in. A lot of people disagree with our stance. Interestingly, Dolupo and I agree on this. So we're more or less like on one side.
Who did this to Nigerians?
A lot of people also feel that the people who say there's no Christian genocide are not smart. I've heard people say it, and that they don't know anything. And everything that you say, they have a counter for it. They have a way of saying, no, whatever you're saying is wrong. So, hey, at the end of the day, like someone said to me yesterday, said, time will tell. I said, yeah, time will tell. So, time will tell.
Anyway, let me just say what came to my mind. I'm not going to say anything. Anyway, I was talking about the PDP. The PDP is really going through it. The past 2 days, there's been 2 different court cases that is now. First one was in Abuja, telling them to stop the national convention. Now there's another one yesterday in Ibadan. Asking the Federal High Court in Ibadan has said that they should go ahead with the November 15th convention in Ibadan. Obviously, there's been quite a lot of things. Talks of Nyesom Wike on one side kicking against the courts in Oyo State, lifting the PDP convention ban. However, there's the acting chairman Damagum is petitioning the IGP and alleging that Senator Ayaw, who's supposed to be the secretary of the PDP, has invaded the HQ and they're planning to install an acting chairman, and they're also in the same vein hailing the court judgment in Ibadan. Now at this point, who's more superior to who, and what's the plan?
A few years ago, there were a lot of crashes in Nigerian Football Federation. They are back in it again, though, but something different this time. So then, there was a particular guy that claimed he was the chairman of the NFF. He didn't win an election. No. He had access to the courts. Mm-hmm. And he would always get judgment from the Middle Belt area where he was from. Now, NFF headquarters is in Abuja. NFF second headquarters is in Lagos. But the guy would always get judgments, even at times at weekends. The Nigerian judiciary has its work cut out for it. How is it? Again, it's the same thing that happened with Nnamdi Kanu. the judgment that everybody keeps referring to, that they said they should set him free, was obtained in the southeast. So you start to notice that trend.
Yeah, then you now wonder, like, why can't everybody, once this case
if it's
is in one
judiciary
court,
and it's a federal matter, shouldn't they all be on the same page?
Same page, yes.
Do you understand? And avoid all of this shenanigans.
Yeah, the minute a case is in one court,
There's
it cannot be
ruling that says there's an interlocutory injunction, there is a stay of action, then another group will now go to another court in their own area of influence, maybe like Ibadan, for instance. I'm not saying that's what happened though, and they will now get another judgment.
But doesn't that also now show that the judiciary?
When will the judiciary be on the same page, especially when these are federal matters? Because if it's a state thing now and it's about edicts and whatever, then it's fine. But we're talking about something that has to do with a national party. Mm-hmm. You get? So whatever it is, at the end of the day, the judiciary that should actually be interpreting the law or, breaking the law down for people might just be causing more confusion.
I think
what happens now,
they're making themselves look horrible.
What happens now is that there are going to be two factions of PDP. Mm-hmm. That's what's going to happen. Now, one might have access to the HQ. It doesn't necessarily mean that's the legitimate faction or illegitimate. But what's going to happen now is that there are going to be two factions. The other problem they would have now is, which one will INEC recognize?
Yeah.
If you go ahead with a Congress, even if it's not an elective Congress, if you go ahead with a Congress, and the Congress you go ahead with, there is no legitimacy to it, everything you do there is null and void. Mm-hmm. If that leads to your elective Congress, if that leads to people contesting elections by an ESCO of that Congress that is not recognized, people can lose their elections. And there are 1 or 2 elections coming up that would involve the PDP. So it's high time, they actually look themselves in the faces and meet somewhere in the middle. It's sad how a party that said it was going to be in charge for 50 years, a party that said it was the biggest in Africa, has now been reduced to this.
I think that looking at this, I personally feel that when we even remove the issue of PDP or the parties, I think the judiciary, like you said, is, if they're not careful, they're going to be dancing a dance of shame. Because if everybody feels that they can go to their own area and get a different judgment, what in the world are you people doing? It doesn't make sense. If a particular case is in one court, I don't think another court should be sitting or presiding over that same case anymore. It does not make any sense. Maybe it's possible according to Nigerian law, or maybe it's now time that those laws need to be rechecked. Because now you now wonder, like, what the hell is the National Judicial Council doing? What's the Chief Justice of Nigeria doing, seeing all this drama? Because the minute that doesn't happen, everybody knows that at this point it's whoever gets to court for, and whatever happens in court, and that judgment stands. Well, now everybody at this point with their individual judgments are going to be claiming the same thing. You are causing a lot of things. The second person that I think that is also causing a lot of these things is INEC. At this point, with this back and forth, I believe that at this point INEC should have come out to say this is this and this and this and this is what is happening according to the law. But INEC is always quiet. When the judiciary does whatever it is they do, they have 2-3 judgments on the same particular case, then INEC is quiet. Then everybody can just go around and we're dancing like headless chickens all over the country. It does not make any sense. It's time people need to do their jobs. The judiciary needs to do their jobs, and INEC also needs to do their job and do it effectively. That's what I think, Sha. But anyway, moving on from that quickly, we'll see if there's going to be a story from that. But moving on from that, let's just go through a few stories. Germany has banned a Muslim group accused of advocating caliphate. So apparently there's a group in Germany that's doing a lot of they're pushing a lot of agendas, up until the fact that even up until saying that they want to come up with a caliphate in Germany. And it's something that I've said over and over again. I think that it is a tad bit disrespectful. this sounds a lot like if maybe the Catholic Church says, oh, we want to have the annex of the Vatican in Saudi Arabia. Don't do that. Don't do that. I think that it is lack of respect for people's area and people's beliefs and tradition. Germany, maybe we don't even say it's a Christian environment, but it's more of a secular environment. And then it's almost like you want to impose your own religion or your own beliefs on the country, and I think it's completely wrong.
The world in itself is going through a lot of trouble, and most of it are man-made and self-inflicted. It looks like we're working hard at some kind of implosion. Land and territorial integrity is now being challenged on a daily. Nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares for history, culture, or tradition. As long as there are numbers, they can do anything and get anything they want. Immigration is supposed to be a blessing, but it's looking like a curse for many people. And the sad part is that most of the people who tend to do these things would not allow it in their own domain.
Yeah. And
it's a sad situation. By the time they start to really go crazy with this, because the future looks very bleak. I'm sorry, it does. When, a large number of people can just move into someone's country and start to change things into their own.
Anyway, New York has a new mayor. I want to see the reaction of the president. The president had talked about
which president?
The U.S. president.
Yeah, let's be clear.
The U.S. president had talked about how it was going to court federal funding because he's a Democrat, and a lot of other things. So we've still not heard an official statement. After now, it's official that this particular person has now won.
You know how big the U.S. is. The governor of that state is like a president, and the city is like a state. That's how big the position of the mayor of New York is. It's a massive thing. You see, at times, you see cities signing treaties with some countries and all. So that's how big this is. Mamdani, one of the interesting things, I looked him up, one of the interesting things about him, let's start from that. He's a Muslim, and he doesn't hide it. He calls himself a social democrat. Basically, he's saying that he's for the people, he's for the workers and not the corporates. And he was a rapper. He used to be a rapper at some point in time. And most interesting, he was actually given birth to in Uganda. You get, and his parents are academics. They are
from South Asia and all that.
He's married to a Syrian artist. So look at
the man is a very global man.
Yeah, it's very there's Africa,
man.
There's South Asia. There's the academics. Then there's of course New York, and everything. But I see a situation where a lot of people will go against him, while he would have his support still. He won his elections. There were glitches in that election. They had issues with the voting machines. And I saw a tweet by Elon Musk, and he was talking about how imagine a Como contesting to be mayor again.
Mayor after being governor. It's interesting, yeah. Anyway.
That his name appeared twice, and that one person's name was upset somewhere. And bottom line is that I'm starting to think like. So
it's not only Nigeria we get this story. Anyway, let's go on from that and let's go to a bit of football. As Crystal Palace has now been charged by the English FA for misconduct after the fans actually posted the fans brought a picture of Nottingham Forest's owner pointing a gun at I think the captain of the team. It's very to be honest with you, I think that especially English fans At times they do some very distasteful.
They've gone
things.
overboard with that. They've gone overboard.
They do
with
a
it.
lot. They do
And
a lot.
maybe when the club gets fined, they will clamp down on their fans.
Yeah, you know, in fact, you hear how some English fans are banned from going to some other countries to do some things, to watch some games and all that. Anyway, before we go, we saw the beginning of the Champions League match day 4 yesterday. It was very interesting. That we cannot that you cannot take away. We saw interesting things. First, Napoli and Frankfurt ended 0-0. I really thought that, you know, they were still going to step up a little bit, but a part of me feels very happy with what's happening with Napoli right now. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Anyway, at the same time, there was Arsenal Slavia Praha. At this point, I'm not sure that anybody was expecting anything different.
Arsenal have gone, you know, not just 8 games now, you know, winning on all fronts. They're not conceding, and that's the real story, you know. And again, they were able to cap the youngest player to ever play in the Champions League.
Yep. Now moving on from that.
Sorry, Yamal.
That's been moved off from you. Atletico Madrid defeated Union Saint-Gilloise 3-1. Was kind of expected. Tottenham also before Copenhagen 4-0.
Tottenham had a very good game.
Yeah, even with the red card. Juventus and Sporting played 1-1. Monaco defeated Bodo Glimt 1-0. Also, the one that I think would say that got a lot of people talking was Liverpool defeated Real Madrid 1-0. And Bayern defeated PSG 2-1, even with a red card.
The sad part about that is that, you know, it was in Paris, and that's sad. But their coach is making excuses. He said they've had a long season, and that's why these things are happening. I'm sure he wouldn't have said that if they had won.
Yeah, two people got injured there. That you cannot also take away from them. But we cannot take away the fact that Bayern is also on a very crazy trajectory right now. Interesting news is that as Bayern being topping that table right now and Arsenal being second, those two teams that seem to be in the top form of their lives are going to be the next to meet. So it's almost like who is going to break whose record at this point.
At this rate, they'll just play draw.
And let's be going on.
They will barricade like we used to say it then.
Anyway, you know, this also has now brought up a very interesting conversation quickly before we go, as to how a lot of people talk about the La Liga, and looks like La Liga, the quality of games in La Liga has dropped. Like, they're saying that as this has started, in the past couple of weeks that the Champions League have started, the only time that a La Liga team ever beat a Premier League team was when Barcelona defeated Newcastle 2-1. And every other time, every Premier League team has defeated La Liga teams.
Well, we said something about that, you know, and I'm also not, reiterating, I'm not saying that the Spanish league is bad. I'm just saying that it's a two-horse race. It's two teams that would either win one or
people are even going to the fact that if these two teams come to the Premier League, they probably will make top 10. That with the competitiveness that you see in the Premier League.
With Mbappe,
but there was Mbappe yesterday now, and there was Bellingham and there was Vini.
Those are one-off games now.
Really?
Yes, now.
Keep in mind, it's a Liverpool that is struggling in the Premier League.
Where were they playing?
Still?
Yeah, anyhow, I don't think that Madrid and Barcelona would be that bad. It's just that, they will realize that life no be like as it be for Spain.
Yeah.
You know, where they can steamroll most of the teams. All those teams, especially the ones with the B, they don't get respect. Once you just see B, Brentford, Brighton, just.
Anyway, on that note, that is all we have to take today on the bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of the bar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.
Peace.